It's been several weeks ago when the Battlefield 6 pre-alpha leak footage came out online, and of course, a lot of that stuff has been removed, but it's the internet, and once a leak happens, it's kind of too late. People already get their hands on it, they get to look at what has been leaked, and the discussions were definitely buzzing. But it definitely meant that the developers had to be very careful how they address this online. And most recently, the developers actually went on their official Discord and decided to talk a little bit more about it, especially because there has been a lot of discussion regarding the fact that people found out that the Battlefield Lab playtests seem to confirm something called skill-based matchmaking. Now, if you're someone who plays multiplayer games, you kind of have an idea of what this term means, but I'll just give you a bit of a explanation. What it really means is that when you go online and play multiplayer and they matchmake you with other players, ideally it's a system, it's a model that's supposed to matchmake you with players within your skill. But what happens when you win a few good matches, right? It kind of could find itself shooting a little bit to the extreme, and so you may won like 3 or 4 matches now, and next thing you know, it's like, okay, so we're gonna start matchmaking you with the big leagues. We're gonna matchmake you with players that are just absolutely insanely good at this game, or in other words, people like to say sweats, right? And so what happens is those 3-4 matches you've won, now the next couple of matches are just like hitting a brick on the wall. It's like, this is not even the same game anymore. I'm not facing off against people that are actually within my skill level. I'm losing every single time. And it creates this sort of manipulative tactic where just when you feel like you've given up with the game, you may have won just one match, and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna keep going. Or maybe I'm not using the right loadout. I need to go and get I need to look up what's the meta loadouts out there, and you find that some meta loadouts are locked behind a lot of grinding or through a battle pass, and you know, it just becomes this thing of keeping the player engaged in a way that is working against them. And people absolutely have hated skill-based matchmaking, especially on Call of Duty. And the fact that it's now been shown to be baked into Battlefield 6, naturally, this has sparked a bit of a firestorm in the community, especially from longtime fans who want just a classic server browser experience and not some matchmaking system that tries to force players into sweaty matchups every single time. Basically, they don't want Battlefield to turn into Call of Duty, and which has honestly shown to been perhaps the most intense has the most intensive implementation of skill-based matchmaking. So, the developers have spoken up. Specifically, David Sirland, one of the lead producers on Battlefield 6, he stepped in on a private Battlefield Labs Discord to clarify what's actually going on. According to him, he says, yes, technically there is skill-based matchmaking in the game, but not in the way that people are scared of. He said it's more of a light touch approach where skill is just one of the several factors that and it's not even at the top priority as well. And so you can get into matches quickly with good ping. He further explains that while skill is used to balance teams, and let's be real, it is kind of needed, it doesn't mean the game is heavily trying to pit you against people of your exact level. There is supposed to still be that classic chaotic experience where everyone's in the same war type of vibe. And still the goal, of course, is playing with your friends or with the community. And he tries to remind everyone that the Battlefield Labs playtest, the same ones that got leaked where people found out about this, were already using the system. If people didn't notice a problem there, chances are the system is pretty okay. It's pretty chill. You know, but you have to understand why he have to talk about this right now, because you know the state of Battlefield is really sitting on a very thin ice. This could be the last installment in the franchise if EA doesn't knock it off the park, especially when you have a competitor like Call of Duty who's really just dominated this genre for so long, and EA doesn't have the output to pump out a Call of Duty game like Activision does every single year. They come out with a Battlefield every 4 to 5 years. And so they have to make sure that this one release works well, and that it's a game that pushes good balance without taking the soul out of Battlefield. And tell you, yeah, the community is really on edge. I'm still hopeful for this game's release. It seems even like just the fact that they have something like the Battlefield Labs means that the developers really don't want to screw this one up, and don't want to lose perhaps the last chance on a good Battlefield installment. This could be the last for the franchise, so they have to knock it off the park, like I said before. So, skill-based matchmaking in Battlefield 6. It's obvious, it has to happen, but the developers say it's just one factor of many factors. It doesn't take priority. We still are all about the classic Battlefield experience. But, saying and doing are two very different things. We're going to have to wait and see when the game officially comes out. What is your opinion about skill-based matchmaking? Do you have any problems with it? Do you feel like because of this model, you've actually stopped playing multiplayer games? Do let me know. Text me at 4215. It's Slaughter2. Love to hear from you guys. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more news from the world of entertainment, only here on Pulse 95.